Welcome. My name is Stephanie Dawn. I'm the chair of the Million Mom Movement Council, and welcome to our November Lunch and Learn. We gather together here every month to dive into topics that we feel deserve a deeper dive around nutrition and something that is maybe not normally connected to nutrition that we want to learn more about. So I'm so excited to be diving into the topic today of autism and nutrition with two women that I deeply care for. I'm honored to call them friends and colleagues. And I want to introduce them to you today. And they are going to then be bringing on moms, autism moms, to have some real talk about what it's like being a mom to children with autism. So first, I'd like to introduce Tirza Dawn. She is an artist, a mother, a ceremonialist, and a lover of life. She's been practicing and teaching yoga and meditation for 30 years and offers yoga retreats and trainings that center on optimum health and self-realization as pathways to self-love. Tirza is deeply devoted to community building and is honored to have created a number of community-supported nonprofits, including most recently the Awaken Project with David and Anna Marie Sandoval, which serves families with children on the autism spectrum. Tirza is proud to be the mother of 3 wild teenagers, including her incredible son, who is diagnosed with autism. And now I'd like you to meet Annie Ybarra. Annie is passionate about being in service and helping all beings reach into their highest potentials. She is a specialist in working with kids and families on the spectrum for over 10 years. She is the co-founder with Tirza Dawn and Dave Sandoval, her beloved husband. They're the founders of the Awaken Project. She is a mom and a partner of the Million Mom Movement, and she's an advocate for intentional living and healing through nutrition. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Annie and Tirza. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us today and allowing us to drop in more deeply with the journey that you're both on as women and moms connected to children with autism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie Dawn. So appreciating all the work you do, everything you do. So blessings and so good to be here with all of you. My name is Tirza Dawn.
I'm Anna Marie.
And we're just stoked. We're stoked to be here with you all. And we're really happy to also be able to invite Joy Marchbanks and Amber Hopkins with us today. Really excited. There are 2 mom guests who are here to help us talk about this really important topic around autism and nutrition. And did you want to say anything or should I jump in?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, we're going to start the program today with talking with our guests. And I wanted to really bring out the stories that our mothers have gone through of the special needs. So, the pandemic and all that's happened in the last 18 months has affected everyone in all different ways. And parents parenting their children through this time. And from my perspective, being the mother of a special needs person, it's been invite us to be able to share in a really authentic and honest way a little bit of what we've gone through with our kids. Anybody out there who might be experiencing this, anything similar or whatever that you've been going through, that hopefully by the end of this program we can hear from you too, and just knowing that all of us are out here really surviving and thriving through this together, and that perhaps some of the difficulties we've experienced is a common thread. So I'll just speak a little bit on what I've experienced in the last year and a half, and then we'll start with Joy and Amber. So I'm not going to go into the long story of it, but I think what's important and for the general public to understand, and I think my story is really similar to what many other parents of special needs children have experienced in the last year and a half, is that basically when things really started to get shut down, my son's services completely disappeared. So it was like, all the ways that we really relied upon therapists of all different sorts, whether it was speech therapists or occupational therapists or physical therapists, his schooling, all of that completely shut down. Even some of our at-home helpers were not able to come home and be with our children anymore and help with the family dynamics and help with getting me a break or all of those things. So it was pretty disastrous. I'm just going to say it like it really is. It was disastrous. My anyway, we experience a lot of isolation. It's difficult to find bridgeways to getting our kids incorporated into social environment. After that, with any kind of people anymore, no peers, no therapists, no family. That no more visits with them. Was pretty devastating for my son and for my whole family. And what that did is it really sent us into a spiral. Behavioral. Sorry. It was just a really intense time for my family. And the behavioral byproduct of that kind of isolation and lack of support, caused my son to go into a spiral, and he ended up needing to spend some time in a couple of different hospitals for psychiatric reasons. And, my family had never experienced anything like that. So it's been a slow climb out from that period. And luckily we're surrounded by beautiful people like Anna Marie and Dave and, our Purium tribe and so much good community and family that, we're climbing out of it, but it's still a climb out. We're not to the rainbow yet. We're not to that beautiful shine yet, but we're getting there.
Tirza, we're losing the sound periodically. We might have to turn off your video.
And I guess I just wanted to share this story because, oh shoot, are not going so well.
Yeah, let's turn off your video because we're losing important things that you're saying.
Hear me now?
Yes, but it is cutting out periodically and we're losing too much.
Okay. Thank you for telling me. I didn't know. Please let me know if you cannot hear me from this point.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, now?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that technical difficulty, everyone. I'll just say my family experienced with the isolation during the last year and a half that has occurred, I think is an example of what many families out there have experienced during this time period, and families with neurotypical children as well.
Yeah, we can't hear you right now. We may need our guests to call in. Oh, this is a bummer. We can't hear you, Tirza. Can anyone else hear? No. We've lost you completely now, ladies. I know you're at the Oasis. I'm wondering what can be done. I think we might have lost them like off of Zoom, actually. I don't see them at all. So you know what? Because I know, Joy, that you're one of the speakers. Oh, there they are. Okay, you're there. We couldn't hear anything for like the last 5 minutes. Go ahead and unmute. Can you unmute? It's on the bottom left-hand corner of the mute button. Yeah, we still can't hear you. Oh, you know why? Okay, because you just came back on. Purium Corporate, can you please, okay, I think they made you host now. Can you see if you can unmute now, ladies? No, they can't unmute. Danielle, I know you're the woman behind the curtain at Purium Corporate. Can you please unmute Annie? They left and they came back on as Annie's cell phone. It says Annie. I should be able to unmute you, shouldn't I?
Okay.
Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hang on. Oh, we had you and then we didn't have you.
Are we here?
There you are. Yeah, sorry,
All right.
this is crazy.
Annie
for
just said, Annie just said while we were going through all that, she was like, well, this is pretty much what it's like to be autistic. In the sense that, you know, it's this continuing challenge to have clear communication with others. It's this continuous challenge to be heard, right? To be kind of mute for a lot of our kids, for a lot of the autism community. It's hard for them to be understood, to be heard, to share. It's like having technical difficulties your whole life long, really.
As much as they want, and they were trying, and we were trying. We were trying to tell you, like, no, we can't unmute. And you're like, girls, just press the thing on the left. And we're like, you do that. And that must be, gosh, can you imagine constantly feeling that way? Because I think that's what so many of our people, not just kids with autism, are going through, perhaps.
Yeah, so I really want our guests to be able to speak on this. And I know you didn't hear the last 5 minutes of me speaking. I'm going to sum it up really quick and say that, you know, the challenges that we went through in the last year and a half, my family, I don't think are unusual. I think that a lot of families out there, both with neurotypical children and then especially with the special needs community, experienced a fallout from their lives that was just really, really intense. And I don't think that there's enough forums out there giving voice to it. And there is a difference between the special needs kids and the neurotypical kids. My son, there was no way he could do any kind of Zoom sessions. That's just not possible. He could not sit there and watch a Zoom and be expected to connect with these faces on a screen, trying to talk to him, trying to do exercises, trying to socialize with him in that way. It really wasn't possible. And I just don't think I'm the only one who experienced that. So today, part of the reason we're here today is to really give voice to others. And I actually don't know what Amber or Joy has gone through in the last year and a half, and they may have a very different story, and we'd love to hear that too. So we'd love to pass it on. Amber, would you like to go first, or Joy? Who's feeling ready?
I can go ahead and go.
Welcome, Joy. Joy's
Thank
such
you.
a dear friend. I'll just give you a quick invitation here to speak. This is Joy. She's the mother of 4 boys. She's amazing. She's been to the Awaken Project and stayed with us on our week-long retreats. And she's just one of the hardest working mamas I've ever known in my life. Joy, please.
Thank you so much. And it's an honor to do this. I feel like just hearing Tirza's story, it's funny because I know Tirza personally, but it's still just like every time I'm like, oh gosh, you know, my heart. And you know, as Tirza mentioned, I'm the mother of 4 boys, and so it's a full house. It's a lot of work. My youngest is 11 months, so you know, a lot of the time when Jojo, who is my son, who is on the spectrum, was doing distance learning, a lot of the time I was pregnant, which, you know, brought a host of other issues that I was kind of experiencing in the process of trying to be there for him and be a good support for him. But he did have a really hard time with his thing is schedule changing. So not being able to go to school and see his teacher, and actually be able to interact with other kids was really tough. The Zooms, it seemed almost impossible. I wanted to just give up after a while. The first couple of weeks were actually not as hard as later, because he felt like, oh, okay, I get to be home. But it was still the transition that was a little challenging. But, as time went on, I thought maybe he'd just get used to it and things would get a lot, easier, but it just got harder. Being in front of the screen all day. And then we also had services that no longer were able to come. And then I was also working full-time from home. So while working and trying to help him to focus on his Zooms, and the outbursts kind of were more regular, lots of screaming, lots of falling on the floor, kicking and fighting with his siblings. And my oldest, who is also on the spectrum, kind of went into hiding. So I have two on the spectrum, and then my 3-year-old. But so it was lots of tears, lots of feeling like, how is this? How can I even? How do people do this? And people who have more children than I do, and trying to find the good moments and holding on to those. And so what I kind of found myself doing is thinking back to which I'm sure that you'll probably talk about, the Awaken retreat, but trying to mimic what we did there, because it had such a huge impact on him. And even his teachers were like, whatever you did for that week, keep doing that, because he came back as an entirely different kid. He actually had no friends prior to the retreat, none. And when he came back, like other kids were inviting him to birthday parties. He got invited to his first birthday party. Mind you, he had not gotten invited to any. No one wanted to have him. So that was a really big deal for us. And so, when things started to decline again, it got really rough, because it started to get back to that point where he was feeling like no one, wanted to be around him. And then when we finally were able to get people to come in, behavioral therapists to come into the house, we had one, she quit after 2 weeks. We had a second one come. She quit after about a month and a half. And so when the third one came, he felt just kind of like disconnected, and he thought they were all leaving because of him. So it was definitely like, again, like Tirza was saying, it's a strain, all of this, the one of the awesome things about being able to be away at Native Spring Oasis is that there was no technology. And now we rely on it. We need it. And now that we're back to doing, virtual sessions, because we didn't have, we can't have people come in again, just because after the whole thing happened, even more with masks and things like that, they canceled his sessions. So he's no longer having someone come in. So it's virtual. So he's actually doing telehealth visits. So he's back in front of the screens, and it's tough. It's tough on all of them. But with the knowledge that I've gained, and I've messaged Annie as well, like, help, something happening, help, finding on Instagram, I need help. And having, the purium and everything that I has been, oh, like words can't even express how big the nutrition aspect has helped my entire family, all of my kids, my baby even, you know, I'm starting to sneak things into his bottles and things like that. But it's, yeah, so that's basically, I don't want to talk your ears off, but it's, yeah, it's a journey, to say the least. But yeah.
Thank you, Joy, so much. Thank you for sharing so much. We might come back to you with a few more questions if we have time. And I know in the chat, I saw people asking about details about Awaken project and how we do these retreats. We will get to that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Some of what you'll hear from Joy and Amber might address some of that, but we'll give you the full picture in just a minute. Thank you for asking. And that's what we're here for, is to let people know about this beautiful 501c3 wait, what's it called? 501c3 PO. Joy, thank you. I think we're gonna go ahead and ask Amber, are you there? You're laughing and beautiful as usual. Amber is another superstar mom. What was it, Stephanie Dawn the other day? She said, we're not waiting for anybody to save us, or, you know, we're not waiting for the Avengers. We are the Avengers. Like, we have to put on our green capes and just, like, you know, fly in and help ourselves. And so Amber's a superpower woman around finding ways to help her family. And I'm just excited to have her here with us. So Amber, if you'd like to share for a little bit.
Thank you both. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I always love talking to you guys. So the question was about what happened, like, with COVID, and the isolation, I think, was the biggest thing for us. My daughter's always been kind of isolated anyway. Like Joy was saying, I really resonated with what you're saying. Like, nobody wanted her to be at birthday parties. Nobody ever invites her. So yeah, that part even got worse. Obviously, I mean, community. I mean, our community is so important. And I know Tirza and Marie, you both agree with me on this, but like, that is so important for all of us. And that's what we lost. I mean, all of that. My daughter was in speech therapy, and, you know, suddenly the teacher could not come to our house anymore. So we'd do virtual speech therapy. Like, there's no way, you know, I mean, how are you supposed to teach somebody to use their tongue and their mouth when you're doing it over a video? And, you know, and you have communication issues anyway. So trying to use a video and trying to communicate and trying to, you know, get that sense of community, it was gone. And she's struggled quite a bit. Like, she has hearing issues, and she has speech issues, and she has eye issues. So video's not her forte. And so we went to video classes, and I did sit down with the teacher before we started, and I said, look, she has all these issues. Could you maybe, you know, give her some slack, maybe understand that she's not going to be able to sit there. She's not going to be able to hear you. She's not going to be able to see what's going on. Oh yes, of course they would work with her. And then when it came down to it, they made her feel so bad about who she was and what was happening to her, that I pulled her out of school, because I let it continue way too long. She was having about an hour of school a day, and the teacher would yell at her, would end up yelling at her and telling her that she was a bad kid. And it was awful. It was really awful. And I didn't know what to do at the time. I kept trying to communicate with the school and communicate with the teacher. And yeah, I'm with you, exploding head. Yeah, it was bad. And so finally I said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so I pulled her from school. But now, you know what, then she was sad because she wasn't seeing kids every day. And she even had less community. So I've worked really hard to try to find her things that she can interact, you know, at least on screen, or somehow we found her this great, like, farm camp that she goes to every Wednesday now. And she's been going for about a year, and it's in person, and there's no masks, and, you know, she can hear, and it's been great. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for that. And so it's just been a continuous, and we're back to masks again. And again, she can't hear and she can't speak. So the masks are just an even bigger threat to her being able to communicate and to get what she needs from life and from everybody around her. And I just feel for her, and I feel for everybody. And there's even places here where I say, well, she has a medical exemption for a mask. And they say, I don't care. She needs to wear that mask. And I, as a mom, like, what do I'm trying to advocate for her, but it's like, so I'm trying to keep it as normal for her as I possibly can, because again, like Joy said, like the scheduling thing, like her losing her schedule and her everyday to-day thing has been really hard for her. And she always asks me, Mom, what are we doing today? Mom, what are we doing today? And, when she had school, she knew, and she was very happy with that routine, and she was very structured. And now it's all gone for her. And she's, so I've tried to set up another schedule, like scheduling for her, so she feels more comfortable and she has that time. But again, it's the screens. It's just always screens, and she's never getting that like communication, that in-person community that we also desperately need. And especially in the autism community, because we're isolated anyway. Like she's never, like Joy was saying, she's never been invited. She isn't included. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have a best friend. And so losing even the little bit that we had before has been just awful. And so we just keep trying to reach out and just do the best we can and just try to build that community as much as we possibly can.
Yes, thank you, Amber, for speaking all of that. Both of you, thank you so much for that. And I just want to say that, like I said before, I think we all understand everybody has had a challenging time, and it's really brought forward for everyone, regardless of special needs or not, how important community is, how important it is to not be isolated, regardless. And so just wanting to really say, that is part of what we've all experienced. And today on this show particularly, we're really just putting a highlight on what a lot of people out there might not understand, which is that our kids who already have these difficulties with communication, things like masks make it impossible, things like screens make it impossible. They have an extra added challenge. And just like all the different movements that are thankfully happening in our country and around the world right now around giving voice to people who are who need to be given voice through all the different movements, this is one of the movements. We are one of the movements that the isolated special needs community needs to not be isolated anymore. And the progress that we need to make is through these solutions we come up with. So part of the solutions is creating community, like just what we have right here, right now on this call. This is a community. This is all of us talking about what is important. We're going to bridge now into the Awaken project, which is one of the solutions. That beautiful, beautiful farm school you found is one of the solutions. So, we're also celebrating the fact that we're on the cusp right now. And that perhaps, I'm a person of faith, and I try to look at everything as a gift and an opportunity. And perhaps the pandemic in the last year and a half is a gift for us to really raise the level on what it means to see one another, whether we're special needs or not. We need to see one another. We need to listen to each other, and we need to make community a priority however we can. So with that, I just want to maybe Anna Marie, do you want to share a little bit about Awaken so people can know?
I would love to.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, the Awaken Project is a nonprofit for families and children with autism, and that Tirza and my beloved husband and I founded together in 2019, I think is our official start date.
But I think we were doing retreats.
2018. 2018 is actually our official start. Yeah. Excuse me. We had some of our official licenses and things like that. But
it's been a process.
A very beautiful one. And so Tirza and I, we began working and being besties and sisters since over 10 years ago as well. And we had a similar vision to building a community of total love and acceptance for our children and families and adults on the spectrum. And we also decided that we wanted to incorporate nutrition and how that our physical health really shifts and can open so many doors for us with our mental, emotional, and our spiritual health. And we also realized how much it's a family thing. It's a family gig. It's a family process. It's a family journey. We're all in this together. And so we wanted to make sure we were bringing our whole family in. And we put together a week-long retreat where we bring our families out to the Native Springs Oasis. And we set up our children on the spectrum with 4 different therapies, horse therapy, music therapy, art therapy, and water therapy. And we have our kids being just living the time of their lives, hopefully, with what we call our angel guides, who are super spirits and amazing angel people who take care and have a blast guiding our kids on the spectrum through different therapies and through nature, and just allowing them the freedom and space to be them in their fullest expression, and guiding them into all different ways that they can find more joy. And in the ways that they get to connect with their spirits then opens doors for those spirits to want to connect more with the rest of us. And we also are really, really proud and happy to say that we treat our parents to a week of rest and reset and connection and validation and acknowledgement to get to be seen and heard and feel a community of other parents around you who are similarly going through what you're possibly going through, or even if not, just like, hey, we have something in common that a lot of other people aren't experiencing, and it feels good to be together. And so we treat our parents to massage and hot springs and a week of getting to sit with themselves for a little bit while we lovingly and very happily and playfully get to have a good time with their gifts that they brought into the world, which is their children that we're so blessed to get to be with for the week. And on the even, how does it get any better than this? My husband, Dave, really brings it in with the nutrition aspect, and he's created a protocol with us for Purium products with to help support bodies with autism. And should I go into that right now? We'll wait a little bit.
Almost. I just
Yeah.
wanted to add to what has been created, that it really, when we three, Anna Marie, David, and I sat down to create this program, what our goal was to not just help the individual with special needs, not just focus on them, because for a lot of us, that's what our entire lives are, right? Like our entire lives are focused on that kid and what they need and all the therapies and so on and so forth. But with this, I think the way we look at it is what we're basically doing is creating a pop-up village, right? It's a pop-up village, and we're trying to create as much support for every member of the family. So the siblings too, which is many of us know, the siblings of special needs are like probably the most amazing superheroes on the planet, straight up. They're amazing because these kids get born into these families where there's an obvious imbalance in attention, so to speak. There's this necessity to funnel a lot of attention and care toward this one individual. And so the siblings oftentimes don't receive as much attention. All the siblings blow my mind, I swear, because they just really understand that somehow. But at the same time, part of Awaken programs is helping them to also be able to express themselves, and for them to meet other siblings that can relate to what their life has been like. It's really different. It's different than when you have a neurotypical sibling. So it's just a beautiful week-long event where people can really shed a lot of the armor that they've been holding the whole time as a family, just kind of protecting themselves from outside opinions, protecting themselves from kind of some of the heartache that comes with being a parent and a sibling of a special needs person. And then of course, our autistic children being totally uplifted and and really told that they are perfect the way that they are, that there's nothing they need to do differently, that we will meet them on their level entirely. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah,
That's what we
that is
do.
absolutely about it. And so yes, and that is it. And in part of, so with the products, we support our children and adults too with autism with different products, but also we introduce our parents to how to get good nutrition into their bodies, organic nutrition, quick nutrition that is easy and simplistic for them. We super flood their bodies, your guys' bodies, the whole week too with the Purium product. So you guys is physically get a reset and a rejuvenation.
A huge thing about that, I'm just going to add, is that so many of us parents, all parents, once again, but special needs parents, just rely on caffeine. I mean, let's just tell it like it is, rely on caffeine, right? To even make it through our days, to be able to keep pace with our children who are often have some kind of hyperactivity issue or all the different issues that can come up. And so one of the things Purium I know has completely saved my life is the combination of the amino acids, and having a shake every day completely shifts that addiction to caffeine and can really just give you that basis of nutrition and adrenal support and protein support, that it just softens the edges, and it helps me to have so much energy to help my child. So that's just one example, but I know for our children too, getting that nutrition in them when maybe, autistic kids are, there's like a classic kind of thing that happens where all they'll eat is maybe one type of food, like one type of chip, and you can't get them to eat anything else. So what we found is that we can sneak in these really high potency superfoods through Purium, and it really works beautifully, and that's going into biomedic and all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes. So with the products themselves, and then we serve our retreat guests organic meals all week, and within that incorporate how you can incorporate the different Purium within yummy foods that your kids like, and try to help support through guidance of eating and make that a little bit easier for our families when they return home. And what else am I missing?
I don't think you're missing anything. I think you're right on.
Well, we make for the siblings, like you were saying, we create kind of basically a summer, depending on whatever season, we create a camp in essence for them to feel like they're having a really fun time and getting to be seen, as Tirza was saying, and getting to relate with other siblings who are going through similar things that they're going through.
We do bouncy houses, we do water slides,
we
do Jeep rides. We go crazy, but it's because we just want to have a really great time with our kids, and all of this is for free. So I just want to say that's one of the most important aspects of this too, is we don't want anyone to be left out because of financial access. So, we do fundraising, we write grants. We're on a whole new level right now, writing grants to be able to get the money so that we can actually offer this week-long retreat totally for free to our individuals. And we accept donations anytime.
And we also want to thank you to Purium, because Purium is our greatest donation and funding. Purium has founded and funded most of our retreats. I'd say 95% of our retreats.
Yep.
And Dave Sandoval himself too. So big thank you to what we are able to do due to Purium. Is making this possible for families really right now at this moment, until more funds are coming in by our community. So that is a really big thank you, and we'll start kind of rounding into offering what we want to share about products and what's coming up next with Awaken.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what's coming up next with the Awaken and so do you want to go into products now?
Yeah, so I'm just going to highlight a few. I don't want to take up too much time because I'm not sure where we at.
110.
So we're okay. 111. Happy 111, everybody.
111.
So I'm going to highlight some of our core products that we really are excited about for autism. The number one would be the power shake, because it is a really good, yummy way to get the greens into kids with autism. And it's a very aesthetically, visually pleasurable drink, really fun for kids to shake, it's simple for them to make with their parents or make themselves even, and feel really independent and like, I got this. And it's a great way to get what they need into their bodies. For some of and it's gluten-free and organic, so it's kind of tough sometimes to get all your greens in. This way it meets most people's requirements with diets and things like that, and you can get it into their bodies. And you can mix it into a lot of different yummy things, whether that could be pancakes or muffins or pudding or all kinds of different things. So it's a pretty big winner. For those people that have really specific diets and really can only have the basic greens, we have the green spectrum drink. And when that is mixed with some of our different bio fruit or our very favorite sorry, I have a little bit of trouble in front of screens, everybody. I'll be super transparent.
The Fruit Loop flavor?
Yes.
There's like a Fruit Loop flavor one.
It's Aloe Digest that you can mix it with. We'll put out an actual little list for everybody. And it really tastes like a Fruity Pebbles drink. It's super easy to get your kids to love. And it gets the greens in right away, like we were saying. Another huge, big plus that we love for our children and for our parents too, because parents need it so badly, is Apothecary.
Yes.
Apothecary really helps our kids to get a deep sleep with whatever hours they can get, because so many kids struggle with sleep. And Apothecary is a great source of not a synthetic melatonin, but just a natural melatonin, and it sits in the body really well. And all of the antioxidants in it also help repair, which a lot of our children's cells really, really are needing. And then obviously for our parents who don't get any sleep, you got to maximize that sleep. And adding a cherry to your night is kind of like adding a couple hours of sleep, I'd say, to your night's sleep.
Sleep is just where it's at. Can I just get some hands out there? Is it just not, I don't know. Do you all feel me on that? Sleep. It's the number one healer. And I just feel for everybody out there who has issues with sleeping. Many of our autistic individuals have a hard time sleeping. So this subject's a big one for me. I feel like I could be a study subject for a scientific experiment on what happens to someone when they have no sleep for 17 years and then they get sleep. Some of you out there are nodding, you know what I'm talking about.
And for the parents, and not for kids,
right,
but adding the relax caps with your Apothecary, off the chart sleep. Like you're good, you're done. Done for the night. And you don't wake up groggy, so you can wake up to being your superhero self at that 5 a.m. wake up call that a lot of us get. So Apothecary is a really big winner. And as you heard Tirza previously mentioned before, our super aminos are a grand taker of the show. It can be so tricky with picky eaters to get protein into our kids, especially good protein. And a lot of us are going more towards the vegan end. That really helps. Some bodies aren't able to process meat, but it's hard if your kid is a picky eater. Then how do you supplement that? You don't have all the different.
Did we lose Annie? Uh-oh. Shoot. We lost the sound, ladies. I'm just wondering if we lost them completely. I'm noticing some questions here. Boo, you asked, is the retreat only open to Purium brand partners and customers? I don't know for certain, but I'm going to say no. I believe it's open to everyone. And maybe Joy, you could speak to that, or Amber. It's open for everyone, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Somebody asked, is there an application process? I'm sure there must be. I was just searching online for their website and I didn't actually find it. So Joy or Amber, if you have a website for the Awaken Foundation and you can put that in the chat, that would be awesome. I know that they haven't had a retreat in a very long time. Thank you, Taz. Thank you. I know they haven't had a retreat in a very long time because of the pandemic. So yeah, due to COVID. Yep. So I'm imagining in 2022 that they will resume, but hopefully they can come back on and share more about that. I wondered, Joy, would you be willing to speak to what I would just like to hear you talk? You spoke a little bit about the products, but would you speak just a little bit more about how the specific Purium products, but also overall nutrition has impacted your son and all your boys?
Yeah, of course. So prior to going on the retreat, so my son Jojo, who was the main one that we were supporting during the retreat, his dad, he was going to his dad's maybe half the time to like weekends or so, and was kind of just given whatever was he wanted, that was kind of, that is even to this day kind of like the fun house. So, a lot of for lack of better words, crap, donuts for breakfast, and like just Cheetos and like just whatever he wanted to eat, honestly. So not food.
Not food.
So then he's going to school and the school lunches aren't very great either. So he had a lot of digestive issues. And so when we went for that week, it actually was like when he started, because they'd give him the shaker cup and he liked it because it was green, but he was also weary of it because it was green. And that was his first time really having Purium. I drank it, but he wasn't having it when I would give it to him. But they convinced him to kind of drink it, and plus also, so the biomedic capsules you can open up and kind of just dump the powder inside of the shake. So we kind of like masked it that way. And I remember like maybe 3 days into the retreat of him drinking this, he pooped twice and they were like, yay, Jojo pooped twice. And it was like a really huge like celebration. And, he loved that. So, but he did like, it was just literally like a detox because he actually started to get hives and, like it was just this huge thing. But by the end of the week, everything cleared up because they just kept with it. Everything cleared up. He was calm we were there for about 5 or 6 days. And the first 2 or 3 was rough because it was a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of falling out. And you would think it wouldn't be all that because it was actually a lot of fun. His older brother loved it. He got to kind of, he's more high functioning. So he kind of will eat whatever you put in front of him. So he did great with it as well. But Jojo was a little more cautious about everything. But when taking those, all of the products every day for the first 3 days, it really was, it was a cleanse, to say the least.
And you saw the changes in Jojo. I mean, he eventually did take the power shake eventually.
Yeah. So it was like the second day, because he realized there's no McDonald's, there's no Burger King, there's no donuts.
You're not getting out of this.
Right. So he kind of just was like, all right, whatever, just give it to me. And Dave was really good at like, kind of making it like a cool thing and like, oh, Pirate Dave says, drink your shake. And, so it worked out really well. And so by the end of the week, it was just literally, he just switched completely, like his mood, again, I mentioned like he had like skin issues, and because part of Jojo's thing too is he doesn't like short sleeves or shorts or anything like that. And it was really hot. So he was wearing a coat, like a majority of the time, and he likes that. I don't know the word, because he also has sensory processing disorder. So like he likes that hugging feeling. So he was wearing a coat zipped all the way up for a majority of the time, and we're in the desert.
Yep.
So I think by the end of the week, he shed off the coat, and he was, more getting along well more with his angel guides. And it was amazing. Like words can't even express, because I was crying and stuff with him. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sad, I don't know what to do. And the constant apologizing to everyone around, because that's what you're used to when you have a kid on with special needs. It's like, I'm sorry, oh, I'm sorry. So for them to just be like, no, just let him express himself. And if he's going to drink some of it, he would drink some of it and throw it or something if he was having a fit. But what I found by like the 4th day is he would go back and find it and finish it.
Oh,
so
wow.
That being said, after that, I realized how much of a change it had in his teachers and students, everything, that now he'll tell me like, oh mom, I need my shake in the morning, and even if he doesn't like it, he has he'll chug it. And, because he knows it's good for him, he'll ask me, this one's protein, right? Yeah, this is protein. Okay. And then that trickles down to his siblings. So now his younger siblings are wanting to, have their shake. Oh, I need my shake. And so it's been amazing. And, hopefully at some point his dad will, understand the change and hopefully, get that knowledge and understanding and join us with this process. And that's just the other part of it that we're working with. So
yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I can imagine it must have been very liberating somehow, is the feeling that I'm getting, just imagining that week unfold and what happened at the start, and then like transformation towards the end of the retreat for your son. Like just amazing. So I see that we've got Annie and Tirza. We have about 6 minutes left. I wonder, ladies, would you be willing to speak to the issue of glyphosate, autism, and biomedic? I'd really love to hear your opinion on that. Here we go again. Danielle, can you please unmute Annie and Tirza again? Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys, and thanks for the patience. And thank you, Joy, so much for that amazingly beautiful share that just makes our hearts super sore. And to jump off of what she was saying and lead us into where I was going before we lost service, is that, the next really big product that we're really grateful for, Purium, is Biomedic, for our kids with autism, to bring healing to their guts. Biomedic removes glyphosate from the body. It's clinically proven to remove it within 6 weeks of taking it on a daily basis. And this is a really big game changer for our kids with autism, because most of our kids are struggling with gut issues and their intestinal lining being too thin or broken, and having a lot of different issues with that. So being able to have Biomedic to not only take glyphosate out of their food, but to also begin repairing it with the probiotics and prebiotics in it, really, we start to see a major difference when the gut can be healed. Obviously, there are different diets and ways that people are finding to begin slowly healing the gut, but it takes a really, really long, very long time. And the diets are pretty downright like stripping to the core, and can simplify. really intense for families to have to do. So being able to have biomedic to heal the gut without having to go into extreme diets is a really big blessing and a gift. And so when we started Awaken Project, our coming from biomedic, they've developed the product Epigenius Kids, which is a shake with biomedic in it. So it's a kid shake with a higher quality of protein and higher levels of the certain vitamins that growing children need. And it has the right amount of biomedic in it for our children. So it makes it a really easy way for us to get the biomedic into kids with autism and start to heal their gut. And similar to, as Joy was saying, if the Epigenius chocolate flavor is not appealing to certain mouths, biomedic is pretty flavorless when it's put into anything. So if you open up a capsule and put it into your child's favorite smoothie, or a little bit of apple juice, if that's their favorite drink, or whatever it is that they're loving to have, you can get that in there and start repairing the gut. When you start repairing the gut, then you'll start to see different opening doors within communication, within social skills, within just behavioral issues. And excuse me, I would never like to say issues, but different behavioral challenges that you can start to see a lot of different changes in those. And it's pretty miraculous. It also really helps digestion for our kids. And if you've been constipated, it's not comfortable. So if you're constipated for years and you have all these other sensory issues going on, it obviously is going to put a halt to your expression and to your mood and to your quality of life. So when we're able to start helping digestion as well, that shifts a whole myriad of things and opens doors and lets a lot more light in. And so
it's really kind of the first step, I think, for autism with healing. For some of us have tried things like GAPS diet and paleo, and there's all these different kinds of diets we try with our autistic children. A lot of it boils down to healing the gut brain connection.
Yes. So those are our two really big easeful ways to start beginning the healing process with nutrition. And we also have the chill spray, which is not continued, but we have probably some other different things that are going to be coming out that help the calming the nervous system a little bit in a nutritional way that is a fun spray for kids.
Yeah.
Exciting. Oh, Annie, I think, did you just drop some intel there, girl?
No, not dropping intel.
So we have to wrap it up right now, ladies, but two questions as you wrap it up. And thank you, Taz, for dropping all the links and the emails and such to get in touch with Annie and Tirza. If people want to apply to come to your retreat, they go to your website, yes?
Yes, that's correct. And I think somebody did post that. I thought I saw something like that, the Awaken Project retreats.com. And you can go to that website. There is an application process there. And I want Annie sitting here next to me right now to be able to say the big announcement that we're about to have our first Awaken retreat since the last couple of years we had to shut down, and it's going to be in April. So
Yes.
Keep your out for that, and we'll be putting out some information about that soon.
Beautiful. Wow, that is just the best news. I'm overjoyed. I think you've had many of us just feeling all kinds of feels today, many emotions, so many insights into the journey that you've experienced, Amber and Joy, and you, Tirza Dawn. And speaking of angel guides, my goodness gracious, Annie, I'm so glad we were able to make this happen, this gathering happen. If you're looking for the replay, you will find it on our YouTube channel. Go to Million Mom Movement YouTube channel. Follow us there, please, and you will get all the notifications. We do these gatherings monthly. Our next one in December is all about diabetes as we go into sugar season here, learning about diabetes and nutrition. So thank you, Amber. Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much, Annie and Tirza Dawn. And there's beautiful baby Neela. Yeah, many blessings. We're so glad that you could be here with us. Let's go out there and change some lives with what we've learned today. All right.
Thank you,
so
Stephanie.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Million Mom Movement.
Yeah.
right on. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.